Should you quit caffeine if you have anxiety? The short answer is no. You don't have to, but let me explain. Caffeine and anxiety definitely have a history. I'm not arguing that. For example, this meta-analysis by Psychiatry Research in 2024 found that caffeine intake is correlated with an increased risk of anxiety. But what stood out to me about this is that it doesn't talk about why. It only mentions the correlation, and as we know, correlation doesn't equal causation. Your experience with anxiety is influenced heavily by how you interpret and react to sensations, how you think, by the assumptions you make, and core beliefs that you hold. Think about it. What does caffeine do? It's a stimulant. It gives you a racing heart, palpitations, jittery hands, shallow breathing. What does that remind you of? Anxiety. Even panic to an extent. So is caffeine actually causing anxiety? Or is it causing all of the symptoms that you associate with anxiety and panic? And you're misinterpreting those symptoms as something dangerous and reacting to them with fear and anxiety. Not to mention, if you're already hypersensitive, or you're someone with health anxiety who constantly scans your body, then this could be enough to ruin your day, potentially giving you a full-blown panic attack. Yet someone else who experiences the effects of caffeine in the same way may actually enjoy those symptoms, channeling them for some extreme sport, or they may find them exciting. Have you seen a Red Bull video? Remember that excitement is almost identical physiologically to anxiety and panic. The difference is the association and interpretation in the moment. And a quick tip, if you feel panic coming, shifting to excitement is something that actually works quite well. But let's assume that caffeine definitely causes anxiety. There's some direct cause beyond just the symptoms. Here's the thing. I don't care. If you've been following me for a while, you know that my outlook is, if it causes anxiety, then I need to do it. If it makes me anxious, I need to face it. If it makes me panic, it's worth tackling. In my view, overcoming anxiety isn't about avoiding the sensations that cause it, or even the anxiety itself, because avoidance is actually a big part of what keeps anxiety alive. And I've been there. While I was fully agoraphobic and having panic attacks every single day, multiple times a day, I was completely caffeine-free for years because I thought that caffeine triggered my anxiety and panic, and I had to avoid it at all costs. But what we resist persists. I learned that the key to breaking the cycle of anxiety is about leaning into it, facing it head on, and teaching your mind and body that those sensations aren't dangerous. I'm now living a full life. I'm traveling, I'm facing my fears, I'm about to be a father, and I drink caffeine. So what's the difference? The difference isn't the caffeine. It's that I stopped seeing those caffeine-induced sensations as threats. Once I changed my interpretation and reaction, my experience changed. I recently made a short about this, and this comment sums it up really well. After a series of panic attacks and big health anxiety symptoms, I stopped drinking caffeine. But as therapy and medication started to work, my therapist strongly suggested to go back to my previous dose of caffeine to not fall into those anti-anxiety safety mechanisms that actually enforce anxiety. That's so important. Sometimes the things we do to help are the very things that reinforce our anxiety. Having a safety person, avoiding anything that makes you anxious or panic, even doing breathing exercises to stop a panic attack can be a form of safety behavior that stops your body from understanding that if the panic continues and you allow it to happen, you're safe, making it harder for panic attacks to happen in general, because it's not a threat. Not long ago, I did a more in-depth video about this topic and some TikTok hacks that might be making things worse for the same reason. So check that out after this video. Now, I will just add, different people experience caffeine differently. And for some, it's just not worth the trouble. Even if you're not afraid of the symptoms, it can be uncomfortable. And there are some conditions that make people more sensitive to caffeine, and even some conditions where it may be dangerous. I'm not saying you have to drink caffeine or that you should. On the same vein, some people have positive effects from caffeine. Supposedly, for people with ADHD, it may even make them tired and relaxed. But if you used to enjoy a soda or a coffee and you avoid solely based on anxiety, then I'm saying that the avoidance may not be helping you like you think. You're still here watching this video, right? Avoidance reinforces anxiety. It makes you believe that you're not capable of handling the sensations, that you won't cope, but you can and you will. The aim of anxiety disorder recovery is not to eliminate the anxiety. It's to stop anxiety from controlling your life and living fully in spite of it, not completely free from it. So, should you quit caffeine? Well, temporarily cutting down can definitely help lower your baseline anxiety. But once you're doing the deeper work of acceptance and exposure, reintroducing small amounts can actually help you to improve your relationship with anxiety and the symptoms associated with it in the long term, as well as building up your resilience in general. And you know what else has helped a bunch of amazing people build resilience lately? It's actually our sponsor today, our very own anxiety fitness community. Now, I know what you're thinking. Not another Facebook anxiety support group. They're so toxic and make me feel worse. And I completely agree. But our community is all about embracing anxiety, not fighting it. There's no toxic reassurance seeking, no endless symptom checking, or does anybody else posts? It's just wins, big or small. If you're on a journey, you share your wins and what you're learning in the hope of inspiring somebody else, and others do the same for you. We also hold regular live events like community Q&As, workshops, and special guest speakers. I've built this community from scratch. I develop it myself, so you know that your feedback will directly shape what this becomes. I've already made changes based on member suggestions. Just use the Message Peter feature. Some members have even shared wins that mention drinking caffeine again, not by eliminating anxiety, but by completely changing their relationship to it. If that sounds like something you've been missing, check out the link in the description and join us. We'd love to have you. So, no, you definitely don't have to quit caffeine. In fact, I think facing it despite the symptoms and potential increase of anxiety short term is the way to go to reduce your overall anxiety levels in the long term. But remember, caffeine is still a stimulant. Too much, and you're probably gonna feel it. For me, a soda now and then is perfect. But whatever you choose, face it, embrace it, and most importantly, enjoy it.